Okay. Alrighty, we should be getting started with the draft here any moment. And we have Card Control versus the Tiny Fuppets on Tomb of the Spider Queen. And first ban here, going to Crowd Control. I'm hoping to see some Li Ming play tonight, casting 3 games. Okay, good, there's a Kel'Thas ban. I was afraid there might be some first ban Li Mings, given how popular she's become just within the short time of her release. Let's see what the Tiny Fuppets goes to ban out on Tomb of the Spider Queen. And they could look to ban anything, a melee assassin, strong popular support. Rhaegar now is really all over the place since he got buffed. Oops, excuse me, I'm dropping stuff on my desk. And yep, looks like they're thinking about the Rhaegar ban, as I predicted, and indeed it is the Rhaegar ban. And Crowd Control thinking about a Zagara, always strong on... I mean, specialists are strong in this map in general because the short lanes they can push really hard. Conversely, they can also be ganked quite easily because it only takes about 3 to 5 seconds to travel between lanes. But her creep can provide nice vision and prevent that, and it is indeed a Zagara pick for Crowd Control. Let's see how the Tiny Fuppets responds. They have 2 picks available to them. They could open up with a traditional like warrior assassin, warrior support. There is an ETC. This might inform us of the rest of their team composition. Looks like they're thinking about a Tyrande. ETC and Tyrande is always strong. Yep, it is indeed a Tyrande pick. Excuse me, I had to close the window. ETC's power slide and knockback, easily providing Tyrande plenty of time to use her arrow to stun people, damage amp them. Crowd Control now. Looks like they're going to go for an Uther. And maybe now they'll think of picking up a Sonya or a Thrall. Easy Divine Shields for Uther. Or, no, they're going to go for damage on the Jaina. Now Tiny Fuppets turn to ban. There's no warriors picked yet on the side of Crowd Control. And they'll probably be looking to ban either a warrior or a melee assassin. Given the team comp of Crowd Control right now lacks frontline. Maybe we'll see a Thrall or Sonya ban or a Muradin ban. Unlikely to ban out like a Nubrax or Leorix. Oh, Diablo. Completely forgot about Diablo. Looks like Fuppets are thinking of banning out the Diablo, and indeed they will. Crowd Control's turn to ban. It's hard to say what the rest of the Tiny Fuppets team comp will be, other than they're looking to capitalize on ETC's Mosh Pit dance. Mosh Pit dance, excuse me, I always say that wrong. Looking to dump more AoE or burst power. They could ban out a Rainer possibly, or... Oh, there's a Thrall ban. Sunder plus ETC's Dance Ult is really hard to contend with, so I would say that was a very smart ban on the side of Crowd Control. And it comes the burst power needed to capitalize for that dance. It looks like a possible Sonya pick. Again, another strong follow-up to Tyrande's arrow stuns. Gap closer with her spear. Nope. A Li Ming pick. Ooh. But for some reason there's no photo. I don't know why. Maybe Heroes Draft doesn't have a photo yet. Li Ming and Sonya. Oh my goodness. The burst potential on the side of the Tiny Fuppets here. If they pick up this Sonya, it's going to be insane. Absolutely pure aggression. Nope. I'm going for more of a... They're undecided. They still need another melee, though, even with that Rainer. Not absolutely need, but having an ECC is hard to get by. He is a big bully. with his stuns and knockback, self-heal, dance. You don't really want to get near him. But I suspect we'll see the Tiny Fuppets pick up another melee-orientated character as their fifth pick. But let's see. Now it's Crowd Control's turn to answer this Leeming Rainer aggression. They have the Zagara Jaina, which is a strong synergy. You've got Ma, you've got Jaina's Blizzard, maybe Ring of Frost if you want. You could even Uther Divine Storm if you're really crazy, but they do need a front line. They still have plenty of options. They could go Muradin, they could go Johanna. Johanna's good versus Rainer with the blind. Leoric even with Entomb, strong Entomb targets here. Nubrak for web or double stuns. Expected the Muradin. There's the Muradin. They still might consider another warrior, or they themselves could go someone like Sonya. Although Sonya suffers a bit versus the likes of Tyrande and Rainer, so that's probably not the best idea, but Diablo banned out, Thrall banned out. They could even do something crazy like a damage monk, but I would expect to see more of a proper secondary warrior. Maybe even an Artanis as a bruiser if you wanted. They also want to make sure they have ways to cancel the ETC dance, although right now they have Zagarama in their back pocket pretty much any time, given the cast range on it. So they probably aren't too worried about that. But if the Zagara gets killed, they're definitely going to be in a bit of trouble. Uther and Muradin have stuns. Ooh, a Falstad. I like this. I really like this. Mighty Gust is the almighty engage or disengage skill with a low cooldown. That was a very smart pickup by Crowd Control to answer this heavy aggression team composition by the Tiny Fuppets. And we have a last pick. Sylvanas, good idea there to answer the pushing power of Zagara. Have some pushing power of your own. And we are now going to move towards starting the game. So, that is a Zagara, Uther, Jaina, Muradin, Falstad for Crowd Control, and a Sylvanas, Rainer, Leeming, Tyrande, ETC for the Tiny Fuppets here on Tomb of the Spider Queen. This should be pretty exciting for both teams. We got a Leeming to make some big plays. We got a Falstad to make some big plays. We have a lot of ultimate synergy on both teams. Zagara, Jaina, Falstad, ETC, Leeming, Rainer, even Tyrande. Alright, let's make sure everyone has their heroes properly. Yes, they do. We are ready to go. Switching over to the game here in just a moment. Alright, here we go. Start game. And we are off. This is going to be very interesting. Both teams have a lot of gank power, a lot of rotation power available to them. The race to level 10 is going to be, I suspect, very even, but also dependent upon those lane ganks, how successful or not they are for which team. Tomb of the Spider Queen is almost always fast and furious, given the small nature of the map and the high contest of the gems. We'll always want the gems. We want to turn in gems. We want to stop gem turn in, kill people to steal the gems. With the new UI, we have a convenient way to tell how many gems people have. There's no more tabbing over to the screen and doing a quick mental calculation. Alright, it is game time. And is this still reversed? Yes, it is. So For the tiny Fuppets, we have LOL Ruined on Raynor, Carnival on Tyrande, FL Kargai on ETC, Karmid on Sylvanas, Puzzle on Li Ming, and for Crowd Control, we have Sexy Cutie on Zagara, DB Brochacho, I'm sorry, I don't really know how to pronounce that, on Jaina, Binzi on Muradin, Ice on Uther, and Kraz on Falstad. Kraz being the captain for Crowd Control, and Cormit being the captain for the Tiny Fuffets. Let's see here what teams end up doing. Whoops. I need to very quickly turn down my, where is it? Scroll speed to stream. Sorry about that, guys. Alright, here we go. Both teams sort of hanging out middle, doing some poke power. Nothing too crazy. I'm not sure what all this white is on the UI. This is the new Blizzard Observer interface. Actually, you know what? I might be using the custom one still. That could be part of the problem. Again, no, I mean, as far as I know, it is the default. Anyway, I'm not sure what all that white is, but let's see what's going on here. Nothing too exciting yet. People just soaking, clearing their lanes. This must be glitched, because I have no... okay, there are the talents. Talents aren't showing up here. Some kind of bug going on. New Constitution on Zagara. Conjure's Pursuit on Jaina, looking to get the mana. Reprobation, of course, on Muradin. Conjure's Pursuit also on the Uther, looking to get a lot of globes. Seasoned Marksman on the Falstad, looking to gain those stacks. Seasoned Marksman on the Raynor, just the same way. Of course, Ranger's Mark on the Tyrande. Ooh, that Sylvanas getting low. Nice Tyrande arrow on the Zagara, but her creep will probably let her escape with that extra move speed. Rolling like a stone on the ETC. Barb shot for Sylvanas, and a Force Armor for Li Ming. Will be our level 1 talents. No kills yet, as the teams just continue to poke and soak. Poke and soak. Raynor taking some shots at Jaina, but missing that bullseye. This UI is glitched. I'm gonna see if I can't. I don't know if that'll change anything. No. I'm gonna have to monitor the talents through the scoreboard. Silly. Both teams about to hit level 4 here. Let's see what they pick up. I like the Force Armor pickup on the Li Ming. It gives her spell block, charges the spell block every time she hits a hero with Magic Missile. And it holds up to 4 charges. And when you're fighting like a Jaina and a Falstad, that's overall, I'd say, pretty smart. Level 4 for both teams now. Let's see what we got. Venom Spines on Zagara. Extra Blizzard Radius for the Jaina. Protective Shield for Uther. Power Throw, of course, for Falstad. That means he'll be going the Power Throw build. Muradin's still deciding. Raynor going Focused Attack. It's now been nerfed. It's still a great skill. Protective Shield for the Tyrande. Power Slide build for the ETC. And Venom for the Sylvanas. Interesting. And S of Johan, of course, for Li Ming. This has been our most popular talent according to Hot's Logs. Sucks people back in. It also acts as an interrupt. It can cancel channels and things like that. Oh, looks like we're going to have a First Blood top. That Raynor will be blown up with a Muradin and some Blizzard damage. You saw there the S of Johan in action, sucking those teams together. That could come in very useful later when timed right. Pulled Muradin there with an ETC. Oops, I missed a Zagara kill. It's probably bottom, probably due to the Envenom on the Sylvanas. We have 30 out of 50 turned in already for blue team. Tiny Fuppets. Only at 11 of 50. Crowd Control 30 of 50. Looking to turn in. See, I will have to... I don't know this... Oh, there's the UI now. Okay, it's suddenly working. Looks like Crowd Control... Nope, they won't be quite the first to turn in, though they're certainly trying. The Tiny Fuppets do actually have enough to turn in here completely. Just a matter of which team can get their channels off first. Level 7 now for both teams. See what kind of talents they get here. Raiden going for that Thunderburn and Piercing Bolt, Frostbitten for the Jaina, Endless Creep for the Zagara, Cleanse on the Uther, Secret Weapon, of course, on the Felstad. That's the build. Raider going for that Revolution Overdrive, Battle Momentum on the Tyrande. Interesting, not the Lunar Blaze, extending the range. Loudspeakers on ETC, always nice. Little fight here. Oh, ETC diving in heavily. His loudspeakers, though, probably going to make him just fine. Unstable Poison on the Sylvanas, and Calamity for Li Ming. Interesting. She's going for a very aggro build here. She'll probably want that level 13 teleport talent later. We'll take a look and revisit that. It looks like Tiny Fuppets here, though, almost completing their turn-in. They just need 9 more. Sylvanas in a little bit of trouble. No, she's fine. Smurden gonna take some damage, but now it's ETC's turn to be in a bit of trouble. He's stunned up, he's slowed. Felstad coming in for power throw, but between his own self-heal and the Tyrande heal, he will be just fine. Oh. The Tiny Fuppets are the first to turn in here. And it will be their turn to have the Web Weavers. This Endless Creep, though, of Zagara's spreading nicely around the map. I always like to see the Arcane Orb pull people in. The Li Ming's my favorite Diablo 3 hero. And it's fun to see her here in the Nexus. Oh, this Murden caught out a little bit. He'll likely be able to leap to safety, though, as he did just now. In his Blizzard, nicely clearing this 5v5 here in the bottom lane, though the Tiny Fuppets are much closer to level 10. Though even with level 10, they'd be, I don't think they'll dive under Fort. Still not that strong, especially this Weaver about to be cleaned up. ETC, though, diving in. Whoa. That was a Murden kill. And that was a Zagara kill. Those level 10s now being picked up. It looks like a Hyperion, and of course, oh, ETC tried to dance. The Felstad jumped over. Of course, was a Shadow Stalk and Hyperion used, and a Mosh Pit. We have a Wailing Arrow and Disintegrate. I don't think the Wailing Arrow was used, though I might have missed it. This UI is bugged. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to check this out before the next game. Before the next game is cast. I like the Felstad's juke there of the ETC Mosh Pit. That was great. See what Li Ming's up to. Looks like both teams looking to turn in again. Or in this case, just Tiny Fuppets. I believe I just saw a Disintegrate used on Li Ming, but with this UI bugged, I don't actually have cooldowns. I do here. Here we go. Yes, she did in fact just use it. And we have level 10, of course, now on the side of crowd control. We have a Devouring Maw, Ring of Frost, expected to see that Avatar, Divine Shield, and of course a Mighty Gust. The combo here into Ring of, most likely Devouring Maw into Ring of Frost, and then you dump whatever damage you can on top of that. Or the Mighty Gust, you can push people into Maw, or just disengage the aggro of ETC. Murden in a little trouble here, but the jump always saving him. The hopeful Disintegrate by Li Ming, she can afford to sort of just throw out that ultimate and see what happens on that 20-second cooldown. She won't be penalized. Oh. The Tiny Fuppets once again pulling down the Web Weavers. Crowd control not quite yet managing to get a full turn in, though Zagara was trying bottom lane. Level 13 rapidly approaching here for the Tiny Fuppets. This will be a big power spike, and crowd control is going to want to avoid team fights, perhaps, unless they can get the jump on them. This fort is going down any moment now. Crowd control is going to have to be careful. The moment a fort goes down, the enemy team can usually jump on you, given... Oh, Hyperion's used, and there's a Maw into a Mighty Gust disengage, making everything miss. Hyperion a little off here as well, sort of flying off and hitting nothing, but still a decent trade. Disintegrate going off. Level 13 here for the tiny Fuppets. Falstad cleaning up the Webweaver top. Oh, there is a big Ring of Frost and a Blizzard. Shadowstalk being used. Good bit of damage here thrown out onto the tiny Fuppets by crowd control, but they themselves took a lot of hits in return, and it prevented any sort of engage on that Ring of Frost Blizzard combo. You have Giant Killer on Raynor, Groupies on ETC for extra healing. Evasive Fire on Sylvanas, and the Illusion... Oh, a three-man dance into S of Johann! And there was a Falstad disengage, and it will cost them the Murden's life, but in return they will pick off ETC and Sylvanas. That Mighty Gust really switching things around there. What started off as a great fight for the tiny Fuppets quickly got turned around by that Falstad Mighty Gust, pushing people out of position. A nice disintegrate here by the Li Ming, just harassing 3 or 4 members of the enemy team, preventing that turn in for a few seconds, buying his teammates time to resurrect. The top fort did go down. Level 13 rapidly approaching here for crowd control. Oh. Let's see what they pick up. Looks like it will be a 5v5 fight bottom. The Webweavers for crowd control pushing. Oh, a nice 2-man Maw. This could hurt. There's the Ring of Frost, Hyperion, Shadowstalk. I'm not sure that was the right call by the Falstad. He kind of just saved the tiny Fuppets' lives, or at least prevented a lot of damage from them. That being said, Jaina Murden was low, but we still have the Divine Shield by Uther. A lot of ultimates used there. Murden still has Avatar though. They still had Wailing Arrow. That gust was a little premature though. I feel like they could have dumped a little more damage onto the tiny Fuppets before bothering to disengage. This Zagara though in a lot of trouble. Murden though jumping in to put a stop to any aggression. Looks like Murden picked up Spell Shield, Shrink Ray on the Uther, Giant Killer on the Falstad, improved Ice Block on Jaina, and of course Mutalisk for the Zagara. And Overflowing Light on the Tyrande, ensuring she gets additional heal power when on high health. And with ETC taking the Groupies, they basically have an off healer. Or semi-healer. ETC looking perhaps for a dance, but his team's not quite in position to follow up. It's a good thing he didn't jump in there. He probably wouldn't have been very happy about it. Look at some stats here. Area damage going the way of Li Ming and Zagara for both teams respectively. Siege damage, of course, Sylvanas taking the lead, not surprised. Excuse me. Had to cough. The Illusionist Talent's fun on Li Ming, 13 ether, what's it called? Illusionist, yeah. Increases the range by 50%, and if you take a certain chunk of damage, it resets the cooldown instantly. It's very convenient. Lose more than 50% of your health at once. With that low health pool of hers, it's not that hard. Oh, there was a Sylvanas Wailing Arrow. Oh, Falstad disengage. If that Arcane Orb had hit, Jaina would have been in a little more trouble, though I believe she still had Ice Block up there, so nothing too worrisome. 75 gems on the side of crowd control. They definitely want to turn in here. The tiny Fuppets not yet actually having a turn in. This bottom lane perhaps preventing them from wanting to push in. Level 16 on the side of the tiny Fuppets now. That gives us Executioner on Raynor. That's interesting. True Shot Aura on Tyrande, Speed Metal on ETC. I love that talent. Giving your whole team a 20% move speed boost is huge for chasing or disengaging. Of course, Cold Embrace, vulnerable on the Sylvanas. People will blow up even more. And the Diamond Skin defensive option for the Li Ming. Can't really go wrong with that. Big shield for 4 seconds after you teleport. It's always pretty handy. And of course, if that Illusionist talent procs, she can then teleport again, getting yet another shield, allowing her to be very aggressive jumping in. I'm not sure why Raynor took Executioner. They don't have any form of reliable slow on their team or consistent slow on their team at all. I mean, they have. I guess he mainly took it for the stuns, relying on ETC Dance or maybe the Tyrande Arrow. It's definitely can be a good talent, but you generally see it combined with something like an Arthas or a Jaina, or maybe a Vala who can take Frost Shot for the slow arrow. Something that like reliably, consistently gives you the slow power. I mean, technically, Li Ming at 20 could take the Disintegrate upgrade to slow enemies, but I think he's just relying here on the stun power of the team. Taking out that Healing Well, a neglected dimension that Tiny Fuppets did again, in fact, get turn-in on the Web Weavers. They had all 3 lanes controlled, so it wasn't very surprising that they managed to collect the gems necessary and take it out. Oh, that Murden, though, is going to be down. Li Ming, of course, proccing her critical mass trait for instant reset on all her abilities. Hyperion being used here. ETC getting a 1-person dance off on the Felstead. Felstead being Divine Shield, ETC being Mod in return. Wailing Arrow used as a nice disengage, including Shadow Stalk. It's unlikely they could core here, even with the Murden down, and quite yet strong enough for that. Level 16 for Crowd Control, Brute Expansion, Northern Exposure, Stone Form, Benediction, and Hammer Time being taken. Whoa, that pathing on ETC though. They'll be happy to just get out of here with that move speed buff, the fort being down. And bottom lane, though, is still free pushing for the Tiny Fuppets. This fort's unlikely to go down. But what they can do, as soon as that Weaver dies, the Tiny Fuppets might look to take the boss. In fact, that's exactly what they're doing with Tyrande's damage amp. This will be very easy, including her Owl Scouting capabilities. And the ETC auto attack buff makes this very easy. Jaina, though, taking a poke, seeing what's going on. Her team, though, not in position to make this happen. And a preventative, just-in-case Shadow Stalk being used there to secure the boss. Decently low cooldown for the Tyrande. Not a bad idea, especially considering they push with this boss right here, right now. They could very well win the game outright. 5-3 here. It's been a high-tension game, but not necessarily a high-contest game between these two teams. Boss here pushing into the core. Not taking that much damage yet. Here comes the Hyperion. Murden pounding away. There's a Wailing Arrow disengage. Murden Stone Form into stun. Li Ming Disintegrate, just absolutely destroying multiple members of the team. Almost 4. That is, in fact, GG. Well played.
Red team victorious.
And that game will go to the Tiny Fuppets. Whew. It was a pretty standard match, almost 19 minutes, almost a 20-minute average match. The stats here are kind of deceiving because not that many kills happened. Hero damage is quite low all around. Overall, I like the drafts here from both teams. I don't think I said it outright, but I favored the Tiny Fuppets draft, just because, well, the stun meta has been so prevalent for so long, and it has decreased a little bit of late, but honestly, chain stuns are still where it's at, especially when you combine that with the Tyrande. your damage amp. You have a Rainer to auto attack. You have an ETC to buff the auto attacks of all of his teammates, including that Tyrande, that Rainer, that Sylvanas. You have the ridiculous burst power of the Li Ming to just shoot through enemies, and then critical mass, of course, resetting all her skills upon a successful takedown. It's just, it's a very scary aggro combo, and Crowd Control had the right idea with taking the Falstad to disengage this aggro from the tiny Fuppets. And it was used successfully several times with the Mighty Gust. There was definitely 2 or 3 perhaps misuses of the Mighty Gust that were a little premature, or might possibly, I can't say for sure, possibly even lost them some kills bottom lane. It pushed them out of 1 or 2 of the Jaina Blizzard and perhaps some additional damage, but overall definitely the right intent. But ultimately, I mean, it's really hard. Uther did have cleanse, but how many stuns can you cleanse? ETC has a stun, Tyrande has a stun. I don't believe Rainer talented into stun. No, he went an Executioner. But still, I mean, that's all you need. ETC, and if you really need, you can knock them back even further with his Speaker's skill. And life just becomes very hard, no matter what your team comp is, unless you perhaps had a Johanna for Iron Skin, or a secondary support with an additional cleanse to make you unstoppable. It's hard to time that cleanse. I'm personally no good with it. It was designed to counter the stun meta, or at least help with the stun meta by applying a 1-second unstoppable to the target, to the cleanse target. But you also have to be in range to use it, so ETC and Tyrande can engage from fairly far away. And despite the Mighty Gust and the Maw, means they had the Sylvanas Wailing Arrow for the silence, and of course Li Ming's just raw power. Although